So this subject, we were on a midday show. I think it was. I don't think it was the pop up. I think it was a midday show. Asia had got off, and then it was mostly men talking. And Joe was in the chat like, "Yo, we should speak more about the confidence in men, how it manifests, so on and so forth." I'm like, "Oh, that's a good idea." You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think we do it enough. You know, and I think people be talking it, but what does it actually look like? You know, what is the line between so-called confidence and so-called arrogance? You know, how does it show up in people? Can it look different depending on who it is that you're dealing with in the circumstances? But I need to ask this question. I asked the lady yesterday because it was not a topic just like this, but I feel like it has a similar feel. It's never the people on the panel. Like when there's a panel full of women, they never the hoes that we talking about. They don't got no hoes in their friend group. When we talking about men, it's not the men on the panel. They not the betas. We only talking about betas. Everybody on the panel getting pussy. Everybody on the panel is tough and they've been in a fight and they never been beat up and shit like that. And everybody making $100,000. How do we always manage to get panels full of alphas? Full of exceptions? Why is that? Why is that, Mr. White?
Yeah, cause that shit not true.
But why we always talk like we talking about other people when we talking about shit that shouldn't fit us, even if it might? Well, sorry, not even shouldn't. Things that we don't want to fit us, even if it might.
Right. I think because it's easier to talk about other people, right? And then it's hard for us to call each other out on it. So like you could call me out on certain things because you've known me longer. But for the most part, we don't have much insight into what really goes on in somebody else's life. Or dudes just be oblivious sometimes. Well, dudes and women just be oblivious. But I feel like the men are more accountable to their stuff in their areas than the women are. Like I feel like we take it in stride, right? Like we know what Sad was admitting when he was up here. We know how me and you talk about, yeah, we definitely was hoes. Yeah, we definitely, use women. We got all of these kids because of it, right? So I feel like we do it a little bit better than women do, but it definitely be a lot of cap on our end too.
One point, I think you're 100% accurate. One point of correction: we're not hoes, we hoe makers. Let's get that clear.
I'm about to jump on it.
Right.
I'm a hoe mongerer. Okay. All right. Let's just be honest about that. So, what is it though? How did I find all men that are the exception? Huh?
Well, too, because on the internet, people can be whoever they want to be. So niggas be up here living their best lives. They super confident. It'll be a totally different story if you held these conversations in a group or we was just sitting there, no cameras on, and it's just us talking. A lot of men wouldn't say nothing. They would just sit there, fall back, and just chill. But here, everybody's Superman. Anybody can put the mask on, and there's not much evidence to say it's any otherwise, right? It's hard to challenge them with facts or anything because we don't know these niggas.
Okay. So, Seb, when we have the beta conversation, we always talking like we talking about other people. What make us so fucking alpha all of a sudden?
Well, I don't think it's anything that necessarily make us alpha, but it's only certain niggas that's gonna make the cut. You know what I'm saying? We are.
How is it us? So what are we doing that's so great that make us alpha? Because we lead small companies with less than 100 employees.
I mean, everybody brings something different to the table that I know of. Well, just the guys that I know. Like I don't know Corn as much. I don't know Ron. I don't really know Joel, but I know you and A. I've had the experience with you and A for a minute. So I know in regards to y'all two and what y'all bring to the table and what we've experienced as a group, as a whole, what it is with us. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I can speak to. I can't speak to the other three gentlemen. I really don't know too much about them. So I don't know if they perpetrating or what.
But is it possible that we betas and we don't want to admit it?
I doubt it. Not the three that I know of. Like I said, I can't speak on them.
But why though? We work, we take care of our families, we go home, we tell other men what to do. Hold on. Only 6 or 7 of the same people. and then we come home, go to sleep, pay bills, and do it all over again. We don't miss our taxes. We make sure we pay our mortgage. We listen to instruction. We barely vote. We don't know who our mayors are. What make us so alpha all of a sudden?
But isn't that part of what makes us alpha? Isn't that what makes us the alpha material according to the standard of life? We taking care of our family, we provide, and we have businesses. We're doing all these things, and we're respected within our man circles, and obviously by the females that's around us.
But men do that all the time, and they would be beta. The majority of men are beta, and they take care of their families.
But they also, within their group of men, their men group per se, they are held in a certain regard within the men that really hold each other accountable.
I see what you're saying. But if you only alpha in a group of 6 niggas, are you alpha?
If you alpha, you alpha. It's not going to change no matter the group that you in. And like I've always said, when you walk into a room, when certain people walk into the room, regardless of what, and when they walk into or even around certain men, you get that vibe regardless of what the situation is. You can tell when somebody's perpetrating something or they're not really being honest with themselves with what they're doing and what they're saying.
What's up, Ross? I know we talked about that and we all nodded. I nodded too. But what does that look like when a man walks into a room? How does the room change? What does this actually look like so I can look for it next time I walk into a room or somebody who think they alpha walk into a room? I got to get to the bottom of this shit because I feel like there's a lot of fucking capping and I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Ain't that what they say?
How does the room change when you walk in there? How does the room change when you walk in there, DJ Hamp? When you walk into the room, what happens? When I
walk in the room with my book bag, they like, finally, this party about to pop.
That's it. When you walk into the room at work, that's it. That's all.
Oh, shit, get quiet. They know if I come in, if I got to come to the job, somebody getting fired. But that's because I'm in charge, though. But is it just because they're not insubordinate, though? Because beta men take orders well. It don't make me some macho man because I'm working with beta men who actually make sure the world wakes up and goes back to sleep every day.
But we also said that alpha men take orders well too when it's their role to take those orders. Because like I said, on this is your show, this is your shit. You see what I'm saying? So we have to somewhat succumb to your order in regards to what's going on with the show. That doesn't change us from alpha to beta just because we are adhering to whatever you have in place in regards to the show.
Yeah. I think you have a point there. I'm just wondering, do alpha men who are 100% alpha all the time, do they join panels where they ain't in charge? Oh, y'all didn't think I studied the test before I took it. Y'all thought I was gonna come in here playing with y'all.
No, but so the thing about alpha, you can be an alpha and follow.
Yeah, every time that makes no sense. Bullshit, man.
No, I'm saying so you got to be an alpha at all times in all roles. You can't join something unless you're the leader. That's just like that means you can't learn from nobody. You're not listening to nobody. You're not gonna sit there and take notes because you know it all, and you got to be that's not an alpha. That's stupid. That's somebody dumb.
Really?
Absolutely.
Have you watched the Steve Jobs movie?
No.
Well, okay. Well, then it won't be a good.
That's one person.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Let's really dig into it. It's just one person, right? So what I'm saying is, are motherfuckers thinking they alpha and they actually not? Does it have to be more than just I lead my little friend group and I own my little stink ass single member LLC? Like, does it have to be more than that? Do you need to amass wealth to really be considered an alpha? Do you need to have a position where the majority treat you with endearment, not just in your little circle?
Well, I think it would depend because there's levels, right? There's levels to everything.
Well, now there's levels now, huh?
Nah, there is. There was levels to everything. So if everybody's not meant to be way here, so there's even levels of the amount of alphas you have. You know what I'm saying? Everybody not meant to have 1,000 people follow them. Some people are more effective just one-on-one. Like me, I'm way better in a one-on-one setting than I am with a big crowd.
Yeah,
so
I just wonder.
have different specializations. So I don't think nobody is 100% alpha. I don't think the majority of men are even close to it. But I think that's what makes them alpha too.
Hamp, help me understand. I hear this term alpha talk a lot, but I guess I'm not really getting what the comprehensive definition or the allure for being titled as an alpha or not. Help me understand what alphaism is, I guess, in your perspective.
Well, I think alpha: lead, don't bend, take, don't ask, don't acquiesce, don't really take instruction from others, right? They may have an appointed advisor to get an opinion, which they may or may not consider. But I think alpha men at the top of the food chain are living lives by themselves.
Okay.
I don't think they're highly marriageable, honestly, because you're a dog. You know what I mean? And you're a dog almost all the time in your mind. You can never stop moving. You can never stop running. You know? Yeah. So when I was pointing this out, like some of my qualities, because I work, and I'm doing it for my family in my head, but I'm also selfish in that aspect. But it's praised, right? Because y'all see me, I'm grinding, and I take care of my kids and all that, right? But there's a flaw there somewhere. So at a point, it's selfishness, but we think it's great because I'm bringing in money and making sure everybody's fed and shit like that. But I'm really feeding my own ego.
So the mentality, people don't necessarily want to see the flaw. Seems like alphaism is very commiserate to narcissistic type tendencies and actualities.
Maybe so.
Yeah, so just
I don't know if it's narcissist. I don't know if it's extreme love. It's just accomplishment. It's like getting things done. It's like legacies, you know.
Okay, but then the legacy for what purpose? Because you have a lot of people who force their legacy, and that's what you call, domination and imperialism, for the sake of never being forgotten and essentially feared. And they'll go to the point where they will eviscerate other historical backings of other societies and the progress that they've made. So, when people talk about legacy and things like that, it even with just success, it comes down to intentionality. And for me, if alpha being described as, I'm doing this, what I say go, very authoritative and pretty much for the purpose of one's, own gratification, then I don't think they have that true spirit of doing it for the sake of others and for, creating a good opportunity for their family and their own kind. So for me, I'm no damn alpha. I never really liked the term. You wouldn't catch me saying, "Oh, I'm an alpha," but so don't fuck around and find out.
Yeah, and I don't think a beta is a pussy. I think beta men make sure the world wakes up and goes to sleep when it's supposed to.
Do you all think that if we were in a scenario and we all walked into a room, right, and an alpha male walks in, do you think that who a woman picks and identifies as an alpha male will be the same as who a man picks and identifies as the alpha male?
Yeah,
I think it would be the same.
I think it would be the same pick majority of the time.
Yeah, that's a good question, though.
Good question.
I don't think so. I don't think it would be the same.
Why?
I think for women, and y'all let me know if y'all think differently, and that's okay. I feel like for us, when we look for the alpha male, we're in the room, it's a quiet confidence that they have. It's a demeanor. It's not something that is showboaty or anything like that. I think for men, they're looking at, okay, I'm sizing you up physically. Do people stop when you walk in the room? Is everyone's head turning and this, that, and the third? But a woman, she's going to notice the one. I may be a little bit chill. I'm in the cut, but a woman notices that presence.
Why do y'all always say that though? That's what.
I
That's
don't know about that.
Yeah, that's what we're not doing today. We're not doing YouTube talking points. No, you don't. The nigga that's in the corner stays in the corner.
Yeah,
come on,
absolutely.
man.
Absolutely.
But you're not being loud and
That's what I mean. Alex been out the game for 17 years. She knows not.
I'm telling you.
Man.
I'm telling you.
Oh no, ain't nobody looking at that nigga.
Okay.
Oh man,
I disagree with that, Hamp. I agree with Alex.
Bro. Let me. All right now. Hey, I'm trying to get on the minute, but if y'all want to open up, let's do it.
You gave the example of Steve Jobs, right?
Let me just tell you something. You notice what you qualify for. So a lot of times the nigga in the corner is your speed. So you notice that nigga in the corner because that's what's obtainable. The nigga with the bottles and he popping bottles and doing this thing and he got all the bitches. No, you ain't looking at him because you don't got that. Ain't an option.
I don't think she literally meant he's standing in a corner.
Yes, she did.
No, I didn't.
No, she did not. So if you take the example that you use in Steve Jobs, in his story, he was not the flamboyant, outspoken person. He always.
I didn't introduce that to the conversation, so I'm not sure why you're addressing me. You should be talking to Alex.
That's an example. You said
no. I didn't say nothing about being flamboyant. Alex tried to make a differentiation on that.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything about that.
What I'm
so
trying
to kind of
say
clarify, like we don't determine based on the person's flashiness as far as being alpha. At least from my standpoint, I would not depict that person who walks in the room being an alpha male. So I think your original point may not necessarily be correct because of your assumption of what we would choose or whom we would choose as the alpha just by exterior looks.
So
let me ask this.
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So my question is, what do y'all notice as an alpha female in the room?
A what?
What
an alpha female?
I mean, an alpha male. Sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
That was going to be my question too. What do they notice?
What is an alpha male?
That's a different question. I just wanted to make sure that. Let me ask the question. Do you guys agree that people be acting like we exceptions and we really ain't?
Yes.
Do you think people be capping or they just too self-conscious to admit it?
Self-consciousness, it's the appeal that we want to portray on social media, and I think that we tend to be similar to the circle that we keep. So for example, Anthony, you were talking about, when you selected the panel, you have personal relationships. You are around people, you are around other males who are responsible, maybe business owners who handle their business, right? So that's why you can select the panel who seems to be of the exception.
Alex, is it me or is Alex Mike?
She sounds like she's underwater. You're underwater, Alex.
Bruh. Put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out of here. Come on.
Go ahead, say Alex. Go ahead.
What? Oh, you want to say something?
No, I was saying that's just like with the exception piece. Hamp, it may seem like you pick all of the people who fit the exception mold because you selected the panel. You have personal relationships with them. And with that, it's saying that you're picking people who are similar to you. So you are someone who is a business owner. You are a father who is responsible. So your friend group would look similar to that.
No.
Imagine.
No. Ron don't got no kids. Joe don't got no kids.
As a regular.
Ron's not a whoremonger. Joel's not a whoremonger. Okay, Adrian is. You're good there.
Yeah, and I don't own a business either.
No regular.
Huh? I think the most similarities I have with is Bub. After that, it kind of goes south.
So I'm asking, do you guys feel like y'all are alpha males like the niggas on the panel? Because I feel like there's probably only like 1.5 alpha males on this whole panel, if I could be completely honest. Like in our original Wednesday panel, I only feel like there's like 1.5 alpha males.
Damn, a half?
Mm-hmm. If I'm keeping it all the way above.
Who's the half?
All right, Q. I guess you gotta say names. Q. We keeping it a bean, Q.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna give the names and then I'm gonna give you the reasons. I feel like Hamp is the one alpha on this entire panel, and it's not because he runs the show, he's the moderator, all that shit. He just got alpha energy. And I feel like the half will be Bub. And the reason I say half is because he seems like he's very soft and docile with his kids. Other than that, I don't identify and this is no disrespect to nobody else. I don't identify none of the rest of y'all as alpha male.
Yeah, none taken from me.
No offense taken.
Yeah, but y'all like more guests to me. So
right. She was talking about the original Wednesday.
Yeah, like the original Wednesday panel.
Not the current panel today.
Let me read a couple of super chats, see what the people in the back think. Shout out to y'all. I see somebody named Leslie get on too. Players only TV was popping with the $5. You have alpha, beta, sigma, gamma, and omega males. Alphas need a pack. Omega male are as strong as alphas, but run alone. Many conflate each type. I don't know. I didn't read it. I didn't read it, and it said that per se. I actually read it, and there's so many studies out there, so the terms might switch. Because I've actually heard that more with sigma from the things I've read, which is why I kind of stick to alpha and beta, because I feel like it kind of is just easier to have the conversation. But he might be right. Wisdom, Wild Wisdom 7-11 with the $10. Only a woman can determine an alpha.
Put him in a fucking bedroom. Get him out of here. Come on.
Rebel Rose was popping with the $5. Simply put, an alpha has a complete control of his reality. An alpha can conquer, create, and control, even if it means potential death. Damn. Okay. That resonates. Kevin, is that Mr. Kev?
I think so. I think he came back.
Hey, we spoke you up. We were worried about you. We ain't seen you in a month of Sundays, man. Glad you popped up. Rebel Rose with the $5 once again. For your information, don't listen to women on this topic. They typically want a lion in the circus versus the lion in the jungle. They want to control and not serve.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts on these exceptions? So, okay. Does anybody want to respond? Mr. White, do you want to respond to Q?
No, not really. I don't think like when I think of an alpha 2, I think of dominance, right? So I think at a point in time I used to be more but now I just don't. Like I'm way more I'm way more agreeable than I used to be. But that's more so just my profession and throughout the years to where I don't have to be dominant, and it's just crept into everything else. So I pick and choose spots a lot. So I'm not always like, I don't have to be here. My preference nowadays is more so just to leave me in the back and kind of be alone. So,
but does it go away if you're born?
No, it's there. It just doesn't. I don't have to be that in certain spaces. You know what I'm saying? So like at one point in time, I was on 100 everywhere I went. Now it doesn't matter. I have too many other things going on. So it's real selective in when it comes out in terms of me having to be dominant. But a lot of times once I speak, that's more than enough. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so my point
all the time.
But my point is your alpha doesn't go away. You're born in alpha, right? And so it exudes regardless. You don't have to be contrived. Your dominance doesn't have to be contrived when you're an alpha.
What I'm saying is I don't exert my dominance though.
You don't have to, agents. I'm saying it's still
you do. Being an alpha is about dominance too.
You don't have to exert it. What I'm saying, it just is present. It exudes is what I'm saying to you. Don't have to.
Right, but what I'm saying is, and I think it goes back to what Hamp was saying. If a man just walks in the room, you cannot just tell he don't got to say nothing. He can just sit there. You can tell if he's an alpha man.
Yeah,
it's not true.
Yeah. I think
that's really not true. Somebody literally can walk in the room and sit down and you'll say, okay, so let me ask you this. What is it about the man who just walks in the room and just sits down and you can say, oh, that man's an alpha? It's just an energy or a presence, and you just know, oh, alpha male right there.
Yes, because he exudes it. It doesn't have to be manufactured or contrived. Is what I'm saying to you. So it doesn't. You just be. You just are. And so it doesn't take away. But let me be clear, it doesn't take away from anything or anybody else. And alpha room just is exuding that.
Well, I think that's an issue. That if you can just walk and just see somebody, if y'all can be that observant of things, y'all shouldn't be in the position that y'all are to be in so many fucked up men.
No, don't say
based on the energy, you know all of this stuff. I'm talking, Age. I didn't interrupt you, Age. I'll let you finish.
We were both talking. We were both talking. I think that you all see it too. Like you all are gravitate. You all, when I say men, you must say you all mean men. You gravitate as well to the alpha. There's something that draws you to the alpha. So in a situation where stuff gets sticky, the alpha rises up naturally because what we gonna do? You automatically are drawn to him. What we about to do, Hamp? Or you not to say, but you look like what we about to do.
It doesn't come from me just walking into a room. Like if I walked into a room, I'm not gonna naturally just. If I was just to see him right in a room, I'm not just gonna. Let me just naturally just gravitate towards this nigga. Like it don't work like that. I gotta talk to you. I gotta see how you move.
Of course.
That's what I'm saying. But you're saying, hey, you can dictate based off of a way that a man is sitting if he's an alpha man. However you define alpha, because I know people define things totally different. So for me, I see it more as dominance. So go ahead.
Let me say this. Let's nullify this quiet point thing. A lot of that for women is also attraction based and your options based. So when you talk about you see sun in the corner and all that, it has a lot to do with what you're attracted to and then what you think you can obtain.
But I wasn't saying that. I'm saying that in the interaction with the men in the room, you'll see it. He doesn't have to sit there and lord his power over the men in the room. It is literally y'all interact with one another. We can see it as women, is all I'm saying. I don't say you sit in the corner not talking to nobody. It's through the interaction.
Yeah, well, that's not. Yeah.
With your sticky situation, you're not going to just know if Hamp's quiet the entire time. You're going to see how he moves and how he interacts with people in the room. Is all I'm saying. That's
not what your initial point was with me. It was hey, if somebody just walks in the room, you can tell. It wasn't based on his interaction.
It was him just walking.
That's different, but that's all right. So it's very important to understand. If it exudes, then that omits interaction.
Yep.
If he's interacting, then he's showing. It's not just some aura. So that's where the 2 points slightly contradict. He has to show, but also I think people have auras generally, and you may feel some type of energy from a person, and then it's crazy. You might feel an energy, and then that motherfucker start talking and sound like Urkel. What happens then? So but the actions matter too. How we talk, all that matters too.
I said all that. He exudes. It's going to be manufactured or generated. And all this initiated from me sitting there saying, Adrian, your alpha does not go away. It's still there was my point when I very first started. Your alpha is still in you is what I said from the very beginning. That's all this started.
Right. But I was so I agree with you, love. We on the same page. I think I was just looking at it from a different point in terms of the action piece. Right, because I'm not going to engage like I would normally, and I'm not going to be like as dominant or
the horse is dead,
even though I have the ability to.
The horse is dead.
I appreciate you owning it, Mr. White, and not taking offense to it, because I remember Hamp shared some information about the different types of males, and I learned something about beta males in that I read. A lot of times beta has been thrown around to be offensive, to mean that you're at the bottom. The alpha's at the top, a beta is at the bottom, and whatever you identify as outside of alpha, a lot of them really aren't terrible, and it doesn't speak negative of your character. So the fact that you could just take that in and own that and be like, yeah, I don't gotta be an alpha, but I'm still that nigga, I fuck with it.
Nah, because I identify as a man.
Mm-hmm.
Period. That's what I am. That's what I exude.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't take that from you. But yeah,
like definitely a man. It's also how women like argue. So thanks. Like, do you see how Love said interaction and then aura and thought she said the same thing? Like,